Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are doing well and I wish you all a very happy new year. The topic of the day is the relationship between your previous travel history and the potential implications of those travel on your visitor visa applications for Canada. 99% of the times I see these confusions amongst the clients that, well, I have traveled to so many countries, yet my Canadian visitor visa got refused. Hence, try to understand some of the very basic underlying factors that make or break this sort of notion, right? The travel history is important, but it's not the only governing factor, guiding factor that determines the success or the failure of the visa application. In order for you to qualify under a Canadian visitor class, you have to satisfy Regulations 179. Period. Now, there are specific circumstances where a travel history could be viewed as an important factor. There are some other circumstances where the amount of travel that you have had in the past would not be given any kind of consideration. When you consider travel history, it is important for you to understand that Immigration Refugee Protection Act of Canada and the regulations, they do not have any provision that give a direct correlation or a positive weightage between the amount of travel and the success or the failure of the visa application. How is being viewed by immigration officers is like this. If you have traveled to the countries with strong immigration pull factor, what I mean by that is, for example, if you are from India and if you have been to the US, if you've been to Australia, if you've been to New Zealand, if you've been to London, and you came back to India from all those short trips well within the maximum period authorized for your temporary stay, that gives on the balance of probabilities a weightage on your application stating that if you have traveled to those countries where you could potentially would have claimed immigration, yet you did not and you came back to your home country well within the maximum period authorized for your temporary stay, probability on the balance of probabilities that your probability of you repeating the same behavior here in Canada are quite high. Now, as compared to the fact, for example, the same person from India does not travel to any of those major countries that I spoke about. The person might have traveled to, say, for example, Thailand, Indonesia, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Dubai. Those are the countries. Does those countries, they do not have any strong immigration pull factor. So yes, you can potentially go to Dubai and seek employment and stuff like that. But almost there is no way that you would go to Dubai and then stay illegally and stuff like that, right? The same is true for countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and all the Southeast Asian countries that you talk about who visit there for tourism. The same is true for other European countries such as Greece, such as Spain, such as Portugal, all those countries. You may visit those countries for tourism, but there is no such strong immigration pull factor on those countries which would let you stay there permanently without leaving the country. So when you really talk about travel history or when you give adequate weightage to the factor of travel history, only these very specific countries come into consideration as far as Canada is concerned. US, UK, London, Germany, Australia, Ireland to some extent. These are some of the major countries, right, that come into consideration. Regardless of whether you have traveled to all the rest of the world or no, they would not have much weightage and hence importance when it comes to the Canadian visitor visa application. So please make sure this basic fundamental doubt is being cleared before you make that application. But as I have said at the very beginning, regardless of the amount of travel that you've had in the past, if you are not able to satisfy directly Regulations 179 for your proposed visa application for Canada, this application would unfortunately be turned down. Regardless of how many times you have visited US, if you are not able to satisfy Regulations 179 this time, your Canadian visitor visa application would be turned down. Generally speaking, visitor visa rejection rates have gone up quite significantly, particularly from India. A lot of the good applications are not going like the way we would expect it to go. Hence, be very, very careful before lodging a visa application today. You might need to see the GCMS notes. You might need to wait for a little bit for the situation to be better. But as of right now, the rejection rates are quite high. Hence, the caution exercise is warranted. I hope this clarifies the doubt on the correlationship between the travel history, the previous travel, as well as on your potential visitor visa application to Canada. If you need our professional support with any of the services that's been listed on your website, feel free to book a professional consultation. That's the first step, and we would be more than happy to have a case-specific discussion with you. Hope this helps. See you guys in the next one. Bye now.